And I'm going to change the Y rotation a little bit as well. Say something like that. And then I'm going to come down to the end of the timeline. I'm going to apply a full rotation to both. Opposite side. And I kind of want it to end like right there. As I said, you're free to animate however you'd like. I'm going to set these animations keyframes by holding down left click. You hold down left click, and if you select all these keyframes, I'm going to set them to easy ease keyframes by hitting F9 on my keyboard. And now the animations are going to be much more smooth, and they're going to roll together real nice. And that's looking pretty cool thus far. Maybe scrub through. There's our quick 180-degree turn. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Alright, let's continue on. Pull this back up. At this point, let's go ahead and convert our audio over to keyframes. So I'm going to select my madworld.wave. This is my sound file. Go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, and Convert Audio to Keyframes. And that gives me an audio amplitude layer. It's a null object as well. I'm going to go ahead and hide that layer, pull this down, go into Effects, and it has keyframes for the left, right, and both channels. So I'm going to Control left click both the left and right channels and hit Delete on my keyboard. And you'll see that if I pull down the both channels, I have a slider. And the variable changes as I scrub through the timeline. So what I want to do is I want to visually analyze where the mean or average point is, or peak in the audio, so that I can use that as a signature in my expressions. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we do it. But let's go ahead and find that. I'm just going to zoom around here. I'm going to select my slider, make sure your slider's selected, and let's zoom in. You can see now that I have all these varying values. And let's zoom in a little more and just scrub through this. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I kind of want my particles to emit at the peaks, and I'm seeing the peaks around, on average, something like there. What value is that? The value is 19. That's a little too high. I do want it to emit something lower. So let's say like, I don't know, 9, 8. Yeah, let's be generous. Let's go with 8. I'm going to go with 8 on that. And I'm going to keep that value in mind. And I'm just going to turn this off. And then what we're going to do is go click our particles layer, pull this down, go under Effects, Particular, come down to Emitter, and I'm going to Alt left click on the particles per second. And now I'm going to apply my expressions. Just going to pull this down so you can better read what I'm doing. And I'm going to zoom on up. First things first, let's just click in here, delete that, and let's pick whip by left clicking and dragging onto our audio amplitude slider value. We now grab the value and set that to our particles per second, which now is literally nothing since the value is so low. So we need to mess around with the expressions and a small bit of math. So I'm going to set a variable. I'm going to set that to x. So x equals what we pick whipped, and then I'm going to set a semicolon down here. And I'm going to come down a space, and I'm going to say if x just so happens to be greater than 8, which was our value that we determined in my audio file, at least was the average. It'll be different for yours. So just make sure that it's, relatively accurate. You can always play with it if it doesn't give you the values that you want. If it's greater than 8, I'm going to set x times 150. So I'm going to take that value and multiply it by 150. So I'm getting literally 1,000 or more particles that are going to be emitted every time it hits that value. So I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to say otherwise by typing else, left curly bracket, right curly bracket to close it, x times a small value of, let's say, 10. And that really, now if I scrub through the timeline, see, that is pretty cool. That they are indeed in sync with one another. And our camera zoom should be coming up, should be finishing right about there. That's pretty nice. Alright. Well, guys, you are welcome to use this effect however you like. Maybe, like I said, for a cinematic or an introduction or an ending credit scene. I mean, maybe if it's just for a intro to your YouTube channel. Really, I mean, you could be doing art with it too. That's personally what I love doing, but, you know, that's just me. Guys, as always, my name is Graham with Tutorial Clarity. I hope you find this effect useful. I really do. So, as always, take care.